wake up. No more distractions, no more co-host review shows. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. I'm done with those damn review shows, done with being someone's co-host. I'm just narrating slasher books for the Slash-a-Holics. And when Jason walks in with his machete, or when you cross paths with Myers, or you dream of Freddy, whatever the tale, I'm gonna read it for you, cause I'm the 80s fucking slasher librarian Josh LaRue. Whatever I read, whatever you hear, there's one thing I'll promise year after year: you're gonna get the best of my best, this I promise you, cause I'm back in that fucking bloody slasher groove. Because the librarian is back in the slasher groove. The librarian is back in that slasher groove. That's a promise from Josh LaRue. Slasher books both old and new, written by me and written by you. Yup, now I'm back, I'm back. No more distractions, no more co-host reviews. The librarian is back in that slasher groove. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. The librarian is back. I even wrote my own take on Jason and Freddy. Started with quarantine and then I was ready, so I sent Krueger to space in celestial slumber. Then Jason went primal and the Raptors had his number. My audiobooks have crossed 75. Now let's hit 100 and have a fucking good time. The librarian is back in the slasher groove. The librarian is back in that slasher groove. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. The librarian is back. The librarian is back.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. The fan novelization by Jeremy Terry. Chapter 13, Parents. Tracy took the stairs 2 at a time, her heart beating fast. She'd been calling Carlos's name for several minutes now and she'd gotten no reply. She kept trying to tell herself that everything was okay, that they just got lost driving earlier and that they weren't trapped. She told herself that Carlos was probably just sleeping somewhere with his hearing aid out of his ear and couldn't hear her calling. Plausible. Rational. Bullshit. She wasn't sure how she knew, but she was certain that something was very wrong. She reached the second floor landing and paused. A strange blue light was coming from the second door on the right of the hallway. As she watched, it faded away to nothing. She walked slowly forward, her fists clenched, ready to fight. She rushed through the door into the room and saw a rumpled sheet laying on top of a rusted bed spring. Carlos's hearing aid lay on the scuffed floor beside it. "Carlos?" she called, hoping against hope, knowing he was not there. The room was small and the closet doorless. She could see everything she needed to see from where she stood. She crossed to the bed spring and picked up the blankets, felt residual warmth from Carlos's body. He'd been there just moments ago. So where was he? She picked up his hearing aid and stuffed it into her pants pocket. She walked out and did a quick search of the rest of the rooms on the top floor. She found a bathroom, 2 more bedrooms, and a lot of trash, but no other sign of the boy. She ran back downstairs and found Spencer still sitting on the sagging sofa in the living room where she'd left him. His eyes were bloodshot, his stare vacant. The smell of good reefer hung like smog in the room. "I can't find Carlos," she said, pulling the hearing aid from her pocket and showing it to him. Spencer's eyes drifted to her for a moment, not really seeing her at all, and then moved back to the broken television in the corner. "Hey, man," Spencer said, sounding very much like Tommy Chong and Cheech Marin. "Do you see what's on this TV?" Tracy could have spit on the boy. That's what she got for depending on someone else. She would do it herself. She spotted the van keys on top of the television, stalked over and snatched them up. "I'm taking the van to look for him," she said as she stormed from the room. Spencer didn't even notice her leaving. He was transfixed by the scene playing out on the broken screen. Dozens of teenagers and young children were pressing against the inside, desperate to get out, to escape the black place they were held. Someone pushed through the crowd to hammer on the screen with his fists. "Spencer!" Carlos shouted. "Don't fall asleep! Get out now! Run!" All the other children joined in the chorus, shouting and wailing for him to run away. Spencer giggled. "Carlos, we were just looking for you." "Spencer, open your eyes! Get up!" It was no use. The sweet Mary Jane had him in her arms, and Spencer closed his eyes, riding the high down into troubled sleep. The Sweet Home Orphanage's halls echoed with the ghost of long-gone children and happier times. Maggie and John walked by empty dormitories filled with rows of empty beds, their mattresses rolled up and waiting for new kids that would never come. Maggie paused to study a black and white group photo that hung beside one door, shaking her head sadly. "We shouldn't have come here," she said. "We're supposed to be finding out about you, not some dead killer's child." "You might be talking about the same thing," John said. Maggie turned away from the photo and started walking along the hall again towards a door at the end of the passage that was open. Light spilled from it to paint the rug in a warm hue. "Look," she said, "this entire town is obsessing over this Kruger character. That doesn't mean you have to join them." "Do you remember what the guy said at the carnival earlier?" John asked, his eyes intense. "He was afraid of me. Why else would they be afraid of me? Why else would I still be alive when all the other teenagers are dead? And why else would I have been doing the research?" Maggie opened her mouth to reply, but they both stopped when they heard a woman's voice singing along to a children's song. "Skip, skip, skip to my loo, skip, skip, skip to my loo." It was coming from the lighted room ahead. They stepped to the door and walked inside. The woman was gray-haired, tending towards obesity, and dressed in an old dress that would have been in style in the 1960s. She was clapping and singing along with an old vinyl record that played on an even older phonograph. She gave no notice that she had seen the new visitors. All her attention was on the floor rug in front of her, where imaginary children sat listening to her with rapt attention. "Another one like the teacher at the high school," John muttered. "At least she doesn't have her eyelids stapled open," Maggie said. "Keep up, Jeffrey," said the woman, pointing towards one corner of the room. "Martha, no running. Everybody hold hands." Her eyes moved over the room and fixed on Maggie and John. She smiled and walked over to them. "Oh, you've come back. How nice." John returned her smile hesitantly. "Do you remember me?" "Of course I do, my boy," she said, giving him a gentle pat on his forearm. "I remember every one of my children." She turned her bright smile on Maggie and patted her hand. "Especially you. What a pretty girl you were." Maggie took a step back, her skin prickling where the woman had touched her. The woman turned to the room and started pointing. "And I remember you, and you, and you." "Do you remember the Kruger child?" John interrupted. "Of course," the woman said. "I told you, I remember all my children." Desperate, John took her hand, wheeling her back to lucidity. "Please tell me who it was." This was the wrong thing to ask, apparently, because the woman pulled her hand from his, her face stern. "We're not permitted to disclose a child's real identity." The light vanished from her eyes, and she turned back to conduct her imaginary students in another rousing chorus of Skip to My Lou. That wasn't helpful at all, Maggie said as she turned and walked around the room. There was a little plaque on a desk in the corner that read, Mrs. Gibbons. Behind this was several drawings and paintings that had been done by children. One caught her eye, and Maggie stepped behind the desk to take a closer look. It was more detailed than the others, though it lacked the usual bright colors favored by a happy and healthy child. The drawing was of a 2-story house with a blood-red door and a water tower in the background. The artist had signed their work. "John, come look at this," she called. He walked up behind her and read the name printed in a careful hand. K. Kruger. John reached out and ran a shaking finger over the inscription. Maggie noticed he was pale and had a thin sheen of sweat on his brow. K. Kruger, he said. It could mean anything from Kevin to Kyle. Maggie put a hand on his shoulders and squeezed. Careful, John, don't get too worked up. All this means is that there was a child here with that name. It's me, he said with an air of finality. I'm his kid, and that's why I'm still alive. He's playing some kind of sick game with me. Fred Kruger is dead, Maggie said, and you are not his child. John wasn't buying it. How do you know? That woman recognized me. Maggie raised one eyebrow as she glanced over to the woman who had changed from Skip to Milou to Old MacDonald. She turned back to John. That woman also remembered me and about 50 other imaginary playmates. Let's get out of here. This whole town needs a squadron of psychiatrists. She thought John would argue, but it seemed he thought he'd found out what he needed to know. Maggie glanced back at the drawing once more, wishing she could be satisfied as easily as he. The details of the house and water tower seemed to match those from her dreams. Who was this K. Kruger, and why were they drawing what appeared to be the same house from her dreams? Neither of them spoke, each lost in their own thoughts. They stepped out the orphanage's front door and were surprised to see a familiar van driving towards them. The van pulled to a stop at the curve and Tracy jumped out, looking frantic. I can't believe I found you, she exclaimed. Maggie saw red. What the hell are you still doing here? The tears filling Tracy's eyes cooled Maggie's anger. She couldn't remember ever seeing the strong girl so vulnerable, even during therapy sessions when the girl went into detail about her abuse at the hands of her father. I can't find Carlos, Tracy said, her voice breaking. We tried to leave, but we kept getting lost, and now I can't find Carlos, and he doesn't have his hearing aid. She held out the small instrument for the others to see. John studied it with a knowing expression on his young face. Where did you find that? It was on the floor beside a bed in an old house we were crashing in, Tracy responded. John grimaced. Where's the other one? The blonde kid? Spencer? He's wasted back at the house. John moved towards the van, flung the back door open, and jumped inside. Come on, we have to get to him before Freddy. Tracy followed to the van, frowning. Who's Freddy? I'll tell you all about him on the way, John said as he shut the sliding door. Maggie looked at Tracy and shrugged. John might be losing it, but there was still Carlos to think about. They had to find him, get Spencer, and get out of Springwood before they all went mad. Maggie climbed in the passenger seat and Tracy got behind the wheel. She cranked the van's engine and pulled away from the curb. Spencer thought there weren't many things in life more enjoyable than watching television while stoned. He'd heard that sex was, but he wouldn't know about that yet, so television was enough. It didn't really even matter what was on the screen. Nearly anything could be a gas when the weed was hitting. Take the show he was watching. It was some anti-drug commercial or infomercial starring some teenage boy who was dressed like it was still 1984. His hair was moosed and hairsprayed perfectly. There was a name tag on his shirt, for some reason, that said, Hi, my name is Glenn. Okay, said Glenn, as he held up a frying pan full of crackling hot oil. One more time. This is your brain. He held up 2 eggs and cracked them into the pan where they immediately began to cook. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions? I've got one, said a voice off-screen. Glenn turned in time to see another frying pan come swinging through the camera's view to smash into his face. Glenn crumpled out of view and was replaced by a gnarly-looking dude dressed in red and green sweater and brown hat. His skin was raw and red as if he'd gotten the world's worst sunburn, say from a nuclear bomb or something like that.
I want to know what you're on. It looks like a frying pan and some eggs to me.
Radical, Spencer giggled. The man turned to the screen, staring directly at his audience.
Hey, Spencer, let's trip out.
Music from the bad part of the 60s began to play, and the screen began to swirl into rainbow patterns that strobed and changed their shape like the images in a kaleidoscope. Spencer stood and walked closer, curious. He reached out a hand to touch the screen and was surprised when his fingers sunk through the screen. He tried to yank his hand back and found that he couldn't. He felt strong, steely fingers gripping his wrist. "Hey, man," he said, "let go."
In your dreams,
replied the voice of the burned man from inside the television.
It's time you went home and took your medicine, boy.
The grip on him tightened, and suddenly he was tumbling forward into the television screen. He passed through into a world of swirling colors, and the television screen went blank. 5 seconds later, Maggie, Tracy, and John burst through the front door. Too late. Much too late. Okay, Slash-a-Holics, this has been Chapter 13 of Jeremy Terry's A Nightmare on Elm Street 6, Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare fan novelization. Really enjoyed this chapter. I love that we're getting so close to Spencer's trippy dream, and I love the fact that we got some more of the psychosis stuff going around town with the teacher doing the imaginary skip to the loo with the kids. That whole scene was written very nicely. Enjoyed that. Tracy finally showing that she actually cares about more people than just herself. And I love that it's Glenn. Jeremy wrote him as Glenn instead of Johnny Depp, and I think that's awesome. Me personally, I feel like that was a missed opportunity back in the day, but yeah, Johnny Depp, but the name tag said Glenn, so good going there, Jeremy. Thank you so much for that. This was a fun chapter. All of us who've seen the movie kind of know what's coming, but I feel like there is going to be some more differences along the way, and I hope you're on board for those and excited for that as much as I am. I'm so glad to be back here dropping a new narration. Things should be back on course now. I'm not doing the second channel reviews and all that anymore. That's all him now. So I'll be dedicating more time to narrations. I will be doing some more horror movie riffs in the future. It might be under a different name, and there will be different riffers helping me out with that. You all remember him as Sean Campbell from Out of Print Slashers podcast. He goes by Nathan now. He'll be helping me with that. A good friend of mine, Chris Ludwig, will be helping me with that. We're going to have some funny stuff for you, some great horror riffs in the future. And like I said, the narrations are going to start coming out a lot quicker. We're going to get more books done. I want to get us to 100 books here on the channel. Like the new song said at the beginning, we've crossed 75 audiobooks so far. Let's get to 100. The librarian is back, baby. And for all of you wondering, me and my family were able to get into a new place. That's why it's taken me a minute to get back on here and knock out some more narration, because we were getting moved in, getting set up and all that. We're still having a few little issues. The fundraiser's still up. Trying to raise the last around 300 on that for particular reasons that have to do with getting all of our stuff moved into the new place and things like that. I'm not going to go into big detail here. I did update it on the fundraiser page. But if you enjoyed tonight's narration and you would like to support the channel, you can do so just by subscribing and spreading the word. But if you want to go the extra mile, you can become a channel member, become a patron. You can order a cameo video. You can do a one-time tip, super thanks here in the comment section or on the comment section of any video on the channel. And you can also go through PayPal or Cash App. All the information to support the channel is in the pinned comment in the description below. I'll be back very soon with more of this book and others. Coming up soon, we're going to have The Curse of the Jersey Devil, Friday the 13th, Act 2. Going to start that one very soon. So, and also the 3 books I've written so far, as well as Jeremy Terry's Halloween Massacre and James Acosta's Murder Reports. They're all on Amazon. All that information is in the pinned comment and description as well. Until next time, this has been your friendly neighborhood 80s slasher librarian saying thanks for listening. Be excellent to each other. Thank you all so much for the kind words and for those of you who pitched in. And until next time,
Pleasant dreams!
I'll see you soon.
It's time to wake up, the librarian is back. The librarian is back. The librarian is back in the slasher groove. It's time to wake up, it's time to wake up. No more distractions, no more co-host review shows. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. I'm done with those damn review shows. Done with being someone's co-host. I'm just narrating slasher books for the Slash-a-Holics. I'm done with those damn review shows. Done with being someone's co-host. I'm just narrating slasher books for the Slash-a-Holics. And when Jason walks in with his machete, or when you cross paths with Myers, or you dream of Freddy, whatever the tale, I'm gonna read it for you. Cause I'm the 80s fucking slasher librarian Josh LaRue. Whatever I read, whatever you hear, there's one thing I'll promise year after year. You're gonna get the best of my best, this I promise you. Cause I'm back in that fucking bloody slasher groove. Because the librarian is back in the slasher groove. The librarian is back in that slasher groove. That's a promise from Josh LaRue. Slasher books both old and new, written by me and written by you. Yup, now I'm back, I'm back. No more distractions, no more co-host review shows. Librarian is back in that slasher groove. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. The librarian is back. I even wrote my own take on Jason and Freddy. Started with quarantine and then I was ready. So I sent Kruger to space in celestial slumber. Then Jason went primal and the rafters had his number. My audiobooks have crossed 75. Now let's hit 100 and have a fucking good time. The librarian is back in the slasher groove. The librarian is back in that slasher groove. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. The librarian is back. Even wrote my own take on Jason and Freddy. Started with quarantine and then I was ready. So I sent Kruger to space in celestial slumber. Then Jason went primal and the Raptors had his number. My audiobooks have crossed 75. Now let's hit 100 and have a fucking good time. The librarian is back in the slasher groove. Just narrating slasher books for Slash-a-Holics. The librarian is back. The librarian is back in the slasher groove. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. No more distractions. My own take on Jason and Freddy. Started with quarantine and then I was ready. So I sent Kruger to space in celestial slumber. Then Jason went primal and the rafters had his number. My audiobooks have crossed 75. Now let's hit 100 and have a fucking good time. The librarian is back in the slasher groove. Just narrating slasher books for slasher both old and new. Written by me and written by you. Yo, I'm back, no more distractions. No more distractions. No more co-host review shows. The librarian is back.